Welcome back to the Hank Strange Situation, Lifestyles of the Locked and Loaded.
Make sure to check out hankstrange.com. You can sign up for our email list and find ways to follow and support our efforts. We're going to get into this with David. David, let's start here, right? How about explaining to the folks who you are, what's your business that you do? We can probably start there. Maybe a little bit of a background on who you are, where you're located, etc.
Okay, David Boyd Bones. I own Down the Barrel LLC. We custom build rifles. We recently got up with Black Rambo to build the Black Rambo line of pressure rifles, and we're coming out with a couple more deals with Black Rambo. Like I tell everybody, I was one of those. I'm one of those guys who says you can do it no matter what. Mm-hmm. I was raised up dirt poor. I came from dirt poor, joined the military for a while, and then got into guns, and here I am. Okay. I'm in North Dakota, originally from North Carolina, the backwoods of North Carolina, and now I live in North Dakota, and we sell online at downthebarrelofficial.com.
Awesome. Thank you. Let me see. I don't know if Rolando, if you have any questions right off the is it right off the bat?
Yes.
Or is it right off the back? Yeah.
Are your rifles, your custom ones, on your website or on your Instagram? I wanted to check them out. Or do you have where do you have them at?
The Black Rambos are on the website.
Okay.
My custom ones, we don't have them on the website because we want to make room for the Black Rambos.
Okay.
Custom ones you can call. And if you don't get me, leave a message because I'm always busy. But with the custom ones, we do according to you. So we get together and we actually build it according to the way you want it.
Okay, cool. What's the website? Just downthebarrel.com?
Downthebarrelofficial.com.
Oh, Down the Barrel Official. Okay, hold on. Yeah, because everyone uses it. There's Down the Barrel is very popular on the internet. So here, I'll share that. I'll screen share that for the folks out there so you guys could see it. And you could go check this out while we're here talking. Down the Barrel Official. So do you guys do handguns and rifles?
We drop ship handguns, but right now we only custom build rifles. We only custom build AR pistols and rifles.
Okay, so all right, cool. And I'm just taking a look here. What's the base? What's the ground up of I guess the way what I'm looking for here is to say, where do you start with the rifles? Is that from a particular company? Is it your lower? What's going on?
It's my lower. We start with my lower, my handguard. We have DTB handguards. We have a custom upper that's built for us, and we have our lowers. And pretty much we start with our lower, and we can cut your handguard out any way you want. So like if you want Hank Strange cut in it, you can cut Hank Strange in it. So the handguards are built according to the way you want them. And then we Cerakote them, custom barrels, and I mean the whole nine from there is custom, any color you want, any way you want. It takes some time to get through it, but it's pretty much every way you want. It's worth it in the end.
Okay, cool. For anyone that's watching us here, you could just look in the background here of David and you'll see some of his custom stuff. Of course, for the YouTube overseers, he's not touching anything. Those are in the background. Don't get out of hand. Shout out to everyone who's coming in. Let us know if you guys have questions and things like that. We'll try to get to as many of your questions as we possibly can here. I see Gun Doctor TV is out there. Shout out to him. Razor JB, Dan Hates You is also there. He says, what is this? Sorry I'm late, but you'll have to start over. No. You're just going to have to go for the ride right now. Eric Gonzalez says he's grilling and watching Lot Lao on Constitution Day, America. Is it Constitution Day?
It is.
Oh, see, I didn't even know that. I'm slipping. What? Okay, at least I got the little mini Constitution here.
Yep.
Yeah. What are we supposed to do on Constitution Day? Anyone knows?
Constitution?
Yeah, recite the preamble from memory and the first.
From memory?
Yeah, and the Bill of Rights.
Can any one of you do that? Either one of you guys? Can you?
I can do the preamble, but I can't do the entire Bill of Rights like verbatim.
Okay, you want to do some preamble for us?
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty, to ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
Oh, nicely done.
Yes.
Impressive.
Yeah,
That
nicely
one
done.
I've got, and then I can do a few amendments.
How long have you had that? How long have you...
In 8th grade, they made us recite it in class, and you had to like come up with like a creative way to memorize it. I don't remember exactly what I did. I think I split it almost like a haiku in like different verses, and then that ever since then I've always had it in my head.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Wow, me, I'm just like we the people. Boom.
Yeah, got that one down. Gun Doctor TV says, yes, it is, and I was born on this awesome day. Happy birthday to you, sir.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday to you. And Razor JB says, Carolina boy. That's what, is that what you said? Your family's from Carolina? David?
Yeah, North Carolina.
North Carolina, okay. And then you're out in South Dakota now.
North Dakota.
North Dakota, okay. North Dakota, see, you got to pay attention. How is it? What is it? I'm guessing it's a massive difference, man, North Dakota.
Yes, it is. North Dakota, I'm about 20 miles from the Canadian border. And with the wind chill, sometimes it gets about 60 below zero here.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Yeah, it gets pretty cold here. And then North Carolina is like humid where I'm from. It's like Piedmont area, right outside Fayetteville. So it's like humid. So to go from there to here was a drastic change. And now when I go back, everybody's like, oh my God, I'm cold. And my kids and I are out there with like t-shirts on.
Oh.
Adaptability is crazy.
Yeah, I see the I could see a little bit of that in the background. If you look here at your backdrop, I could see some stone, and it looks like I don't know if it's a log cabin type of a deal, but it looks nice.
Yeah, it is. Thank you.
Yeah, you know, personally.
How many years have you been out there?
Yeah, good question.
Do what now?
How many years have you been out there?
I've been out here 12 years, a little over 12 years. Okay. Yeah, so we moved up here right when the economy kind of went down. I think it was like 08, 09. And my dad's from Belcourt. He's from the Turtle Mountain Reservation here. So he's like, come up here, man, you know, because that's when the oil boom was going up and the house was going down. So I came out here to actually work on trucks as, you know, because there was money here. And there's always been money here, and there'll probably continue to be money here as long as there's oil riggers and oil wells. Yeah. And I ended up staying. I was going to come out here for a couple of years, and it's just peaceful here. It wasn't like back home. It's peaceful. I mean, when I got here, I saw like little kids riding their bikes around the town, and I was like, unbelievable. Like,
it's old school.
These kids, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we just ended up staying. It was a great place to live.
Okay, very cool. So I'm guessing there's just not a lot of people then, right? Or what's your take on that?
Here, there is a lot of people here, because like we're right next door to Minnesota, right down from Canada. It's kind of like little towns separated. You got a couple big cities, but most of the little towns with 2,000 to 3,000 people populations. So it's small compared, you know, Fayetteville and places like that. But it's okay. I like it. I like that it's.
Yeah, that's you know, it's like you said, I think peaceful. So a couple of things that's pop into my mind, Orlando. I don't know if there's anything in your mind. So you've got Native American Indian ancestry, I take it?
Yes, my dad's from the Turtle Mountain band of Chippewa Indians, Nisha, man, and then like First Nations, and my mom is like Cherokee blended, so she's like. You got dark skin, light skin, you got all that. So she's actually Hatchet there. And so it's I'm a blend of everything. French, my grandfather was Irish, my grandmother was like a slave or something. It was just a blend. So I can't get mad at nobody.
Oh, you could always find someone to get mad at. Trust me, you know. If you want to, I think a lot of that comes down to your personality and how you see those things.
Definitely.
You know.
And I'm a firm believer, and I just walk away from anybody that's negative. Like we'll be mid conversation and you start talking bull jive, I'll just walk away. I ain't for that.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Let's see. And then the other thing that came to mind is that you said you did some military service, right?
I was in the U.S. Army 11th ACR.
Okay.
I got out after about 3 years, a little over 3 years, and I came
Mhm.
to North Dakota and I joined the Guard for a couple of years, and then I got
Okay.
out. I was kind of done with it after that.
Okay.
So,
So is that where the where your attractions to guns started, or you were just always into guns?
well, being in the South, you're always into guns.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, being in the military introduced me to a new level of firearms.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, because in the South you got your rifle and your shotgun, and
Mm-hmm.
your base, and you see something extravagant, you're like, oh man, that's cool. And then being in the military, it just introduced you to, the AR-15, M60, 249, and then coming out of there,
Mm-hmm.
that's really got me into the love of firearms was the
Mm-hmm.
AR-15 coming in out of the M4 carbine or whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just fell in love from there, man, and just that was it. I always knew I was going to be a firearms manufacturer.
Oh, okay.
So,
Oh, really? So did you do something directly firearms related in the military, or you did something else?
well, I started out as a tank maintainer. I was the guy that like split the packs and worked on the tanks and turbine engines. And then so they sent me to Fort Bragg for a minute, and then I left there and I went to Fort Irwin, which is NTC National Training Center,
Mm-hmm.
and they fix tanks there, but civilians do it. So
Okay.
I was pretty much the guy that went out to the field and played the bad guy and played the games and stuff that did
Oh,
the
cool.
training soldiers and the hand-to-hand combat and all that stuff. Yeah,
Oh.
Cool.
Oh,
so that was
nice.
me.
Okay.
That's how my whole military career was,
Okay.
just running through the deserts of California.
Right. Okay. So and you've got some skills at fixing tanks.
Yeah, turbine engine,
Okay.
tanks, track machinery, the whole nine, and then most of my skills come from we actually learned how to did training on how to
Mm-hmm.
take care of situations and
Mm-hmm.
things of that nature. So that
Mm-hmm.
was where my whole career was right in there. um and it was amazing. I loved it. I loved
Mm-hmm.
going to the field.
Yeah.
Right.
One of the guys who's always here on the show, Walter from Safety Harbor Firearms. He was never in the military, but he's a big military vehicle guy, and that's his favorite thing, man, tanks. So, yeah,
Oh man, I
yeah.
I hate working on them.
Oh, really?
I hate it, man. Because like you'd be out in the field working on those deals at like 2:30 in the morning, and in
Yeah.
the desert it gets really really cold,
Hmm.
and you got JP8 everywhere, and it's all over you, and it's just
What's JP8?
The fuel.
it's
Oh,
fuel. It's like a blend of fuel, like diesel
okay.
type fuel,
Hmm.
and it's like sometimes it comes off the hoses and it's all over you, and
Oh,
I mean
wow.
you can pull a tank engine out in a matter of minutes,
Right.
and it's supposed to be clean,
Yeah.
but it's
Like you said, I
always.
think it's a power pack, right? And you can
Yeah.
just
Yeah, power
yeah.
pack. You just pull it out, just unhook a bunch of stuff and
Hmm.
pop it out with a herc.
Hmm.
And I didn't hate it. I just didn't like it as much as I did running through the desert and playing war games.
Oh,
So
okay. Yeah, that's always more fun. That's like, you were doing in real life, I guess, what people do on video games a lot.
yeah, I
Yeah,
was the loud Call of Duty guy, I guess.
yeah,
That's what you call
yeah. Did you ever get out into combat overseas?
it.
Okay.
No, I volunteered for it 3 times, and every time I got pushed back. They said they'd rather have trainer. You would be better to train 10,000 than it
Mhm.
is to, possibly lose one or something like that. So
Mhm.
I had a
Makes
lot
sense.
of training to
Okay.
do it. So
Okay.
it was no, it was good. I liked it.
Yeah.
I loved
Yeah. Absolutely. Dan hates you says that jet fuel, it's thin diesel.
Hmm.
it. Well,
That
it's like a blend of diesel
okay.
and like I don't know. I don't exactly know the blend, but I know it's blended, and I know it's like horrible when it gets on your skin.
Mhm.
It's just
Okay.
thinned out.
Yeah. Did you have any questions, Rolando?
Yeah, how did you transition from pretty much servicing vehicles and things like that to actually manufacturing a firearm? So, like the point that you're doing your own lowers and all that stuff,
Mhm.
and go through that process.
So I got out the military, and I got into diesel mechanics because that's what I knew, and it just got old. It
Hmm.
really old, and it wasn't that it was a bad gig or bad job or anything. It just got old. And honestly, truthfully, I googled it. I googled like
Wow.
high paying careers.
Mm-hmm.
And you got pharmaceuticals, and then you have firearms was like in the top 5.
Right.
Like, hey, I can do that. I can build firearms. And it took a minute. It took like a year and a half to get everything together and get with the right people and things of that nature. And not knowing anything about business.
Mm-hmm.
That was the big thing. I didn't know nothing about business. And so that was kind of a downfall, but I learned from it, and it kind of brought me to where I'm at today. And I always wanted to get into firearms. I just didn't know how. So I honestly Googled it. That's the honest truth.
So
That's
you didn't.
awesome.
Yeah, I know, that's cool. I mean, you know what? I always tell people that, right? Because there's always these people doing what we do. You run into people, and they're like, "Oh man, someone should tell people about this." And I'm like, there's this little thing in your pocket that the Egyptians invented called phone. And you could just Google machine anything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it wasn't no magical deal. Like one day I saw, deal. I honestly was just tired of living. I wanted to be my own businessman, and I knew about firearms, and I was like, you know what, this is the way I'm gonna go. And honestly, I sat and I said a prayer, and I had $136, and that's what I bought my license with. Well, that's what I bought my name with. I trademarked my name, and I made payments to trademark my name, and then I went from there. Started with a prayer and $36.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's listen, that's proof that anyone could pick themselves up by their own bootstraps. Success is not guaranteed, but failure is if you quit.
Yeah. If you quit, you've already failed. But if you keep going and just keep striving and pushing towards a goal, and I like when I got into it, I lost on my first gun deal. Then I lost on my second gun deal. I'm like, what the hell am I doing wrong? And I started like Googling business people, and I started looking into how they operated business. And most business people are in real estate. So I just applied that to, the gun side, and then I applied the things that I was taught as a youth, what not to do. Because we weren't really taught about money, so I just applied what not to do, and I just combined them together and created a little platform for myself, and here I am.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, that is cool. And one of the crazy things about America, and I guess a lot of places, that in all the way up to high school, they don't really teach you about money. I don't know if they've made any changes recently.
No, they don't.
I don't think so. Yeah, no one teaches you about money. And then for a lot of us, especially depending on where you come from, right? Or your background, your parents don't know, so they can't teach you.
No, my parents were poor. My dad, my mom and my dad were separated. So I was in that separated home. And then, it was my mom, growing up when I was 11, like she went mentally ill because she was going to school, she was working, she was raising kids. So she had a nervous breakdown.
Yeah, too
so
much.
I kind of her. Yeah. And then so she had like an abusive boyfriend, and he just beat me, things like that. And, I just took all that and I learned from it. Honestly, I really learned from it. Like I said on John's podcast, if you've been through it, I've probably seen it. I've seen a lot of stuff in my life, and I just learned from it.
Yeah. So I don't know if you have another question there, Rolando. I don't want to,
No.
If you've got
this is cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So just if we can go back for a second for the folks out there who maybe want to get into the firearms industry, and from your point of view of not knowing anything or anyone, you said you Googled it, and then you said that you trademarked the name. Was that Down the Barrel that you trademarked?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
The first thing you should do is trademark your name always. So I trademarked Down the Barrel, DTB, Down the Barrel Official, Freedom Flows, because that's our logo, Freedom Flows. I trademarked my logo, and I learned from a person that said, you take a name, like let's say Hank or whoever, you take a name and then you build it up, and then someone comes in and they'll trademark your name and they take everything from you because now they have your name. So that was the first thing I learned to do, was trademark my name, and then go from there. Getting started in business is easy. Doing a business is simplified, but it's not easy, but it's simplified. But building a brand is difficult. It's to build a brand, to actually build a brand, because nobody knows you. It's not you're and then once you trademark your name and you get into the field that you want to get into, the next thing I did was I got my lowers done, started getting my lowers so I could show people, hey, I got lowers, because there's nothing else you can resell your lowers. Everything else on the firearm is easy. It's as easy as you find it. It's just the lowers. And trademarked my name. I got my ATF paperwork done. It took about 3 or 4 months for that to go through. And then I got as I was doing that, I was working on getting my lowers done. And from there, man, and then, I going on YouTube and learning from people how to build a brand. And the first thing you do when you build a brand is you got to get your name out there. I heard a gentleman say one time, Grant Cardone, you ever heard of him?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was watching him. He was a big, Nipsey Hussle. I used to listen to Nipsey Hussle every day.
Really?
It was like you cannot listen to Nipsey Hussle and not go out there and want to grind and make money.
He's a hustler. Well, he was a hustler.
Yeah.
Rest in
so
peace.
Nipsey was like a big, R.I.P. Nipsey, man. He was like even though I didn't know him, just listening to his music influenced me. So Nipsey Hussle, honestly, like Rick Ross, I would listen to him. Just my music.
Right.
Yeah, the music kind of got me up. Yeah. And then so I started watching people like Grant Cardone. I remember him saying there, he said, he was talking to a guy and he says, so what do you sell? And the guy was telling him, and he says, well, I don't know you, so how am I supposed to know to buy from you? And that clicked with me. Like, you got to get people to know who you are, in order for them to buy from you. And so I started watching him. Like I said, Nipsey Hussle, Rick Ross, Grant Cardone. I started watching just different people. Killer Mike, I was watching him. And Black Rambo was like a big one, too. I watched him like, dang, this dude is really doing it.
Black Rambo kind of came out. How long has Black Rambo been out there? Does anyone know? A few years. Yeah, he kind of came out of nowhere. It's interesting because the first time I ever saw anything with Black Rambo, I was going through something in my own video, and then obviously I've been doing videos for a little while, and whenever you post up videos, you're looking at stuff, and I started noticing that there was this dude, Black Rambo. Every time one of my videos went up, it was suggesting Black Rambo. I was like, what the hell? What's going on here? And then I was looking at it, and he's like shooting sideways and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, okay. But he really built up that name really fast.
Yeah, he's the one that, like, I watched him because that lets you know that you can be who you are and be successful.
Yep.
Because he is who he is. He doesn't care who doesn't like it.
He's pretty unapologetic about it. I've come to realize that. Yeah.
And just watching people like that, learning from him. 50 Cent, like 50 Cent's a businessman, dude. Like with vitamin water and all that. Just watching businessmen, taking little bits and pieces from them and learning from them and reading. The first book I ever read, besides really about business, besides like the Bible, because you can read like Proverbs is about how to be successful. Was what's the one, The Richest Man in Babylon. So I read that, just kind of like, I read that 2 or 3 times over, and then I started reading other books from there. And
can you just tell me, what's The Richest Man in Babylon about?
It's just about this gentleman who he was pretty much broke and he wanted to be successful. And so there was a guy who was teaching, a guy that was successful, and he wanted to learn. So he went to him and he asked him about how to be successful. And the guy just coached him on little ways to be successful. And he took that coaching and he added to it until he was like the richest man. And then I think the government or something wanted him to spread the knowledge. So he started teaching others on how to be profitable and rich. And just things like that, like saving so much of your money or learning to live off of so much of your money. Like there was one part in there, and you'll notice if you read it, there's a lot of it that you see in motivational speakers when they talk about money and things. Because like one of the issues he said was the guy says, well, I can't save any money. He basically told him you're living above your means. And so you have to live below your means. So you get to a certain way you can live past your means. And I just took that book and read it a couple of times, The Richest Man in Babylon. That's an awesome book.
I was just throwing up the cover of it. It says that it was originally published in 1926, and it's got 144 page count. So if anyone's interested in that, I would look it up. I also
Cool.
I think here that Audible has it. So I like to listen to a lot of stuff on audiobook. So while you're dropping some of this wisdom on us, I'm trying to share it with the people out there. I've never heard of that, so I always like to look into things that I never heard of. And 144 pages, come on.
Not bad.
Yeah, that's a good book that you can read. It's just like this podcast is called Who Moved My Freedom, and it comes from the book Who Moved My Cheese, which I think is a very good motivational book. It's for a lot of people out there who are starting building a business like yourself, and basically it's about rats in a maze, and if you get accustomed to the pathway that it takes to the cheese, and then someone restructures that pathway, what do? Right?
Mm-hmm.
You just
That's
restructure your way of thinking about it. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
no. I like that. Keep talking. I'm interested in it. What's
Yeah.
the name of it again?
It's called Who Moved My Cheese. Really, I think, Rolando, is that, how many pages is it? I think that's maybe somewhere between 30 and 60 pages at the most. You could read it in a day. And
Okay.
that's what
Check
I
that
often,
out.
yeah, that's what I often do. Like, I read that book several times a year. It's a good thing just to remind you, because constantly in life, doing what I'm doing on social media, what you're doing, what Rolando, and even it's just in life in general, people are constantly changing the rules.
Yep.
Right.
So you have to
Yep.
learn how to adapt to that. And I think it's a great book. It's been around for a long time, and it's a short book.
That's cool. I'm gonna
Yeah.
read that. Like for me, like I also read The Art of War.
Hmm.
Was the one I read, and one that really opened my eyes was The Laws of Power.
Right.
Like
Mhm.
if you read The Laws of Power and look at yourself from the point of view of, let's say, the reader, just kind of step out of yourself and look at yourself,
Hmm.
you'll start seeing a lot of people. Like I started seeing a lot of people were like manipulating me and doing me wrong, because it's a book about manipulation and things of that nature. But if you look at it as
Yeah.
far as your life, you'll start seeing a lot, and you'll
Yeah.
let a lot of people go out of
Yeah.
your life just by reading The Laws of Power.
I agree
Mm.
with you. I think you're right on that. That's a good analogy for that, because whenever, and you guys out there who are listening to this, feel free to let us know what you think about this stuff, and write down some of this stuff if you need to, and smash the thumbs ups when you listen to The Laws of Power. And I actually listened to there was a version based off of 50 Cent. I don't know
Yeah, yep.
if you ever caught up to
He
that one.
he
Hmm?
he was with Mr. He wrote the 50th Law of Power, didn't he?
Yeah, is that what it's called? Maybe it's called the 50th law, but it's loosely based on on that, but 50 brings it from his point of view as like someone
Mhm.
growing up in the streets. But either one that you listen to, especially the original one, you're going to think, okay, this sounds a lot like things you do to manipulate people. And it might make you mad when you read it, but then I think, like you said, David, you start realizing, there's people doing this stuff.
Hmm.
Because there's a lot
Mhm.
of that in there that when I listen to that and when I read it, I think, man, I don't want to manipulate people out there. But then you start realizing there are people manipulating people, and you're
Yep.
probably the person getting manipulated.
Yeah, and when I read it, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I don't want to manipulate people, but I just want to see. And I
Hmm.
started like, because I've read it like 3 or 4 times,
Hmm.
and I started seeing how people were manipulating me, even if they didn't
Hmm.
know it.
Hmm.
Even if they didn't know that they were manipulating me, it was like, dude, that's manipulation. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Hmm.
So I started like letting a lot of people go on account of things like that. Not
Hmm.
not just haters, but people that were. I found out a lot of people were doing it purposely.
Hmm.
Um, like you never ask someone who will benefit off of you any advice on business,
Hmm.
because
Mhm.
their advice is going to be for them to benefit off of. So
Hmm.
it's better for you to walk up and ask a total stranger. At
Hmm.
least they're going to give you a real answer back. So
Yeah.
just things like that. And I started noticing how people were using me and manipulating me, and I had to let them go.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the Art of War does touch on a little bit of that as well. Make sure to check out hankstrange.com. You can sign up for our email list and find ways to follow and support our efforts.